Welcome to Holler Brewery. We're in the centre of Brighton, near enough. At the beginning of September we opened, and we've been producing beer and serving beer to the wonderful people of Brighton and Sussex ever since. Before we were here, we were at my mate Anthony's farm. Anthony works with us, because initially there was just me and Anthony and my girlfriend Bethany, who did a bit more of the design stuff, and then we found Billy, who did our artwork. And then for 18 months we were brewing on Anthony's farm before we found this place in about November last year. And from November until just about now we've been working really hard to open up what you see here. So 2 years ago I was brewing in my back garden, so that would have been kind of September 2016. From the September until just after Christmas, we were building the brewery on Ant's farm out in Uckfield, and then our first pint was sold into the Anchored in Worthing, funnily enough, in April 2017, which ended up being the due date for my son. So doing quite a lot all in the same time, really. So I've been in beer, pubs and brewing pretty much all of my life. I started working in a bar when I was 14 years old, and kind of built up from being a glass collector to eventually, I think my last proper job was as an ops manager for Fuller's, where me and Bethany would design and create their kind of craft beer bars in London. And from there I got into brewing because I met a lot of the brewers in the London Brewers Alliance. And so my last 7-8 years has really been in brewing, which led me to start up my own brewery 18 months ago or so, and which eventually led to here. So the name Holler, when we first started, should I tell you the whole story? I'll keep it quick. So originally we wanted to start ourselves, and we came up with a name called Ironstone, because where we were set, there was loads of ironstone over in Uckfield, and all of the forests there were taken down to smelt and make ironstone. I'm from Middlesbrough, and I was born in a town built on ironstone, so I called myself Ironstone Brewery before we'd even done anything. And then Molten Cores actually owned the rights to Ironstone Brewery, even though we've never done it before. Never used it in the 40 odd years that we've had it. So I spoke to Molten Cores and they were just like, no, we're going to keep it. And then somebody started a tiny brewery called Ironstone Brewery, and then started putting really offensive cask clips, so we were like, right, we'll scratch that. And we wanted something that represented the area without saying, oh, we are the Brighton Brewery, or we are the Lewis Brewery, because I live over in Lewis, or the Uckfield Brewery. And the big thing in where we're at is the bonfire, and Bethany's marched with Cliff in Lewis for ages, so it was cool, we'll do something about bonfire. And when reading the bonfire prayer, the remember 5th of November, part of it says, Holler boys, ring bells ring, Holler boys, God save the King. And the Holler boys aren't the boys of Holler. Holler boys was what I found the most southern way of saying how we're lads, which is where I'm from, which is a come on, let's celebrate, come on everybody. You know, it was call to arms to celebrate. So that's where Holler boys came from. And then from the Holler boys, as we had it for about a year, and when a big thing is about, you know, beer for everybody and inclusivity, it kind of jarred a bit, because, you know, you've got the word boys in there, and not everywhere can we sit down and tell everybody the story. The Holler boys isn't actually the boys of this. And then we talked to quite a few people and put it out there, and then we decided the best thing to do was to kind of drop the boys, even though, you know, we're all Holler boys and girls, and then we stuck with Holler. And that's how Holler kind of came about, rather than the Gwen Stefani song. It's more to do with the bonfire prayer. When we started Holler boys, Ironstone, whatever we were at the very beginning, you know, we had dreams of what we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be a real community brewery, and I think we've got the opportunity to do it here. Also, from like a sensible point of view, it kind of protects our future. It means that people buying our beer over the bar here means that we we don't have to go and slog and send our beer far further and further away, especially cask beer, because it needs to be served as close as it can to the brewery. So how we kind of develop our sales really is that we just want to really focus on our heart, our homeland, which is Sussex really. So we're going to be, the brewery means that we can double our capacity, which means that we can now serve more beer, which we are doing a lot more beer in keg, because the keg beers have been fantastic over the bar. We are going to start doing more canned beer in the next couple of months, but we need to get that exactly right and getting the processes right here to then the way that we can it. So it just means that we're going to have more beer, we'll be able to supply more pubs, because a lot of places are asking us to support them, to stock them, and we can't at the minute because we don't have the capacity. But this place means that we can do that. We can invite those guys down, and we can do beer tastings and get people to kind of understand exactly what our story is, where we make the beer, who the people are who make our beer, and then and hopefully start brewing more beer and taking it as far as we can in Sussex, I suppose.